They say some birds were never meant to land born with only wings. They must keep flying, just like him. This is the story of Theo, and the price of never stopping. Subscribe for more stories that linger in your soul. So there was this guy named Theo. He was only 10 when his dad disappeared into the fog, supposedly chasing something, some dream that was too big for the quiet town they lived in. Theo was just 10, so all he had were questions. Why did he leave us? Where is he going? When is he coming back? But his mum just held him tighter and said, sometimes people have to go chasing their dreams, even if that means leaving those they love behind. And that was the only thing she said. But before she went to sleep that night, she sat Theo down and said, there's something I need to tell you. Something your father told me once. Something he wanted you to know. She leaned in close and whispered, there's a bird. It has no legs, only wings. From the moment it's born, it flies. If it stops, it falls. So it never stops. And then she kissed his forehead and went to sleep. Theo never understood that story. Not until the years got heavy. Not until his mother passed. Not until the world demanded more than a boy could give. He tried to stop so many times, but every time he broke, the image of that bird came to him, cutting through storms, beating against the winds, alone but still flying. And so he kept going. One day he stood under the quiet hum of a broken neon light with a stack of paperbacks in his hands. It had taken him years, but he finally finished his first book. How do you fly when you have no wings? People applauded politely. A few critics praised him, but Theo knew that none of them really understood. None of them really knew what it was like to be that bird. To be born with nothing but a dream. To soar with nothing but hope. That night, Theo stood on the edge of the rooftop where the wind tore at his clothes and ruffled his hair. Below him, the city glittered, unaware of the dreams that took flight in its shadows. He closed his eyes, feeling the familiar ache in his chest. This was his moment. The moment he stopped pretending he was the boy who couldn't fly and started believing he was the bird that had to keep moving. As dawn painted the sky in hues of pink and orange, Theo emerged from the shadows, stepping into the sunlight with a newfound determination. The world might not have believed in his story, but he did. And that was all that mattered. Years flew by. Books piled up. Awards gathered dust. Yet amidst the success, Theo felt a persistent unease. It wasn't until a weathered old man with kind eyes entered his life that things began to shift. The old man, a renowned storyteller himself, had read Theo's latest book. He sought Theo out, not as a critic or an interviewer, but as one soul to another, someone who understood the burden of carrying stories that defied understanding. Over cups of steaming tea, the old man shared tales of his own journey, of the times he poured his heart into stories that left readers baffled and confused. He spoke of the loneliness of the creative process, the agony of pouring one's soul onto pages and receiving only puzzled looks in return. Most importantly, the old man told Theo to stop. Stop chasing the elusive dream of being understood. Stop trying to fit his stories into a world that wasn't ready for them. Stop, breathe, rest. In the quiet moments between sips of tea, Theo found solace in the old man's words. For the first time in his life, he felt seen, not for what he had accomplished, but simply for who he was. A storyteller with a heart full of dreams and a head full of stories that might never make sense to anyone but him. The old man's visit became a turning point. Theo began to understand that his worth wasn't measured by the applause or the accolades, but by the stories that burned within him, waiting to be told. He learned to embrace the confusion, the chaos, the beauty of his unique perspective. With newfound clarity, Theo continued to write. His stories, once driven by the need to be understood, now flowed from a deeper place of authenticity. He wrote for himself, for the joy of creation, and for the solace it brought him. Years later, when a new generation of young writers looked up to him as a beacon of creativity, Theo's advice was simple: keep writing, keep dreaming, and never stop telling your story, even if the world doesn't understand. Because some people are born with wings that don't fit the sky they're in, and that's okay. That's okay. In a world that never waits, will you keep flying or fall trying? Thank you for watching. If this story spoke to you, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more tales from Whispers of Elsewhere.